So, Palestinians across Gaza are bracing for a major storm which is threatening to destroy the places where many are staying. Makeshift tent communities are now at risk of heavy rain, strong winds, of hail and flash flooding. Rain has already flooded many encampments throughout Gaza City in the past few weeks. Officials on the ground say shelters are overcrowded and weak and might not last the next 24 hours. Aid groups are urging Israel to allow relief materials into the Strip, including proper tents, as Storm Byron approaches.
It poured all night and we were flooded. I couldn't move out as I have an amputated arm and shrapnel in my leg that I can't wade in the water. I started shouting and asking people to help get my children out, but they couldn't. The food was spoiled and the tent's canopy got blown away. I don't know what to do.
The cold and winter have heaped more woe on us, ruining all our belongings and bedding. I'm an injured man and can't bear the cold. Look at how the tents have become.
See now from Tareq Azzoum, who has more from al-Zawayda in central Gaza.
The situation on the ground seems extremely extraordinary for families who are right now living in exposed makeshift tents and waiting for the expected storm to hit the Strip. And we can see initial signs of that storm approaching the coast of Gaza as the sky is quite covered with black and thick clouds that are really covering the horizon, while the sound of the thunder echoing at the background, specifically as families are trying to prepare to face this new storm that is expected to reach, at least in its velocity of winds, to surpass more than 70 kilometers per hour. This is a very devastating scenario, and families on the ground are trying to get ready by entrenching their makeshift tents, their flimsy tents that have been usable for more than 2 years. While on the other hand, UN agencies and other local authorities in Gaza are sounding the alarm over the potential repercussions that will unfold once rain starts falling here in Gaza, giving the decimated civilian infrastructure and the restricted number of makeshift tents that have been allowed to access the Strip since the first phase of the ceasefire agreement that will certainly lay bare the vulnerability of the community here in Gaza within the coming hours. Tareq Azzoum, Al Jazeera, from az-Zawayda town, Palestine.
Well, aid groups say Israel is still not allowing in relief materials. The UN and other agencies are being urged to step in before the storm intensifies.
A number of issues have emerged due to the rise of water levels in key areas across the city. Several roads have been cut off, and shelter centers have been flooded with tents now completely submerged. We've been receiving distress calls throughout the night, and we still fear we may face a second wave from this low-pressure rainstorm. We'd like to remind everyone that the municipality does not have the necessary machinery or equipment to operate under these dangerous, windy conditions. Over 85% of our heavy equipment was destroyed by Israeli forces.
Let's hear now from Oxfam. Chris McIntosh is the humanitarian response advisor in Gaza, and he says the supplies Israel has allowed into the Strip are nowhere near what Palestinians need to cope with Storm Byron.
The intense amount of destruction throughout the Gaza Strip that has left 1 to 1.5 million people in those makeshift shelters that you've been covering thus far on your broadcast. So that's well over 50% of the population of Gaza is living in tents or in some sort of tents inside of buildings that have been destroyed and are under very, very structurally unstable situations. These high winds and the rain do nothing good for those situations, and they put these people's lives in danger. They imperil many others across the Strip who are simply trying to seek refuge from the downpour that's inevitable right now. The Israelis and their persistent bureaucracy have prevented us from bringing in necessary shelter and the sort of shelter that would provide adequate dwellings for people living in Gaza, who are just 1 to 1.5 million residents. So what we're seeing now, and if I could take you on the ground here and just pass around certain areas, particularly around Al-Mawasi, that's particularly dense in the population of tents, you would see not only canvas, but you would see blankets being used. It's really to this degree, and obviously a blanket is not going to do much against torrential downpours and winds that are nearly gale force. So it's a major problem, and no, the Israelis have not permitted these tents to enter the Gaza Strip, not for many months, and still the only thing they're allowing at this point is some tarpaulin, which isn't going to do much for people that need proper shelter. It might help some in particular situations, but by and large, the populace is bracing for a very, very tragic situation right now.
Don't miss out and get the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news and expert insights. Like, share, stay ahead.